According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, there are 26.4 million people of concern suffering from persecutions, conflicts, natural disasters, and violence. Nigeria specifically has 60,239 refugees from Cameroon and a little over 2 million internally displaced persons in the country. This informs the need for mobilization and efforts to support the refugees and IDPs to regain their livelihood. Welcome to another interesting edition of Islamic Finance Weekly, where we give you updates on the key developments in the non-interest finance market from the global level to Nigeria. On today's program, we will discuss how UNHCR is deploying Zakat to assist refugees and IDPs in Africa, with Akinyele, Regional Communications Officer, UNHCR Private Sector Partnerships for Africa. She gave an overview of the activities of the UNHCR in 2020 and the response level to COVID-19 pandemic.
UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, is a global organization dedicated to saving lives, protecting rights, and building a better future for refugees, forcibly displaced communities, and stateless people. So we work to ensure that everyone has the right to seek asylum and find refuge, having fled violence, persecution, war, or disaster at home. So right from the emergency stage, when people start to arrive, to when people forced to flee end up living in forced displacement for long stretches of time, we provide a wide range of basic humanitarian assistance through the provision of shelter, healthcare, wash, education, and more recently through cash assistance to enable displaced persons allow themselves to regain some dignity by taking control of their lives. In response to the COVID-19 global health pandemic that spread across the world this year, we've had to increase our preparedness and response measures to really ensure the protection and assistance of those most affected with the evolving coronavirus crisis. So we're scaling up our water and health and sanitation and hygiene preparedness, as well as response interventions to provide support to vulnerable displaced families experiencing economic shock. So we, UNHCR, effectively combats this public health emergency by increasing access to health facilities, services for refugees, stateless, and internally displaced people. Our response to COVID-19 builds on its previous experience in SARS, Ebola, and influenza outbreaks, and these preparedness measures protect refugees before, during, and after global health emergencies. I think it's also important to note that UNHCR is 99% funded by voluntary contributions, including from individuals, businesses, and foundations. Particularly with the world experiencing unprecedented forced displacement, coupled now with the COVID pandemic resulting in drastic budget cuts, UNHCR is really reaching out to the private sector in Nigeria specifically, individuals, philanthropists, businesses, and foundations to support families forced to flee their homes. In this right, we have developed Islamic Philanthropy tools for the Muslim community in Nigeria to utilize to support vulnerable displaced families.
Akinyele provided insight on the innovative ways to address the funding gap that will serve 26.4 million people of concern in Africa.
The private sector, including individuals, companies, and foundations, can really play a strong and important role to support our efforts in protecting and assisting people forced to flee. In Africa, as you rightfully noted, there are 26.4 million people of concern to UNHCR, millions of refugee families who fled their homes because of conflict, violence, persecution, natural disaster, and who've left literally everything behind because of no fault of their own. The opportunity for private sector in Africa to support forcibly displaced communities is immense. For example, according to the CAF, the Charity Aid Foundation World Giving Index in 2019's report, Nigeria ranks number 7 in the world in likeliness and willingness to help a stranger. In fact, 7 of the 10 countries where people are most likely to help a stranger are in Africa. So I think this speaks to the overall compassionate and generous nature of Nigerians and Africans as a whole. So throughout the year, we have been appealing to individuals, companies, and foundations to donate or partner with us in providing critical relief to people forced to flee. We have a donate site, it's donate.unhcr.org, and also welcome opportunities to explore partnerships by even emailing me, raia@unhcr.org.
The Regional Communications Officer highlighted the avenues for increasing collaboration between UNHCR and other related stakeholders in the Refugee Zakat Fund.
So the Refugee Zakat Fund is a recent initiative, and our plan for 2020 is to incorporate the internally displaced persons in Nigeria as a beneficiary group to the Zakat Fund. But by way of background, this Refugee Zakat Fund was established in 2019 and has been backed by several fatwas as being a trusted and compliant Zakat platform to help transform the lives of refugees and displaced families, including in those hard-to-reach areas. The Refugee Zakat Fund follows 100% Zakat distribution policy, ensuring that 100% of the Zakat contributions are delivered directly to eligible families most in need. So through the fund, vulnerable families, including women and children, are supported with core relief items, cash assistance, shelter, healthcare, and education. UNHCR follows a vulnerability assessment framework to identify eligible beneficiaries, including families comprising of widows and their children. And all Zakat funds received by UNHCR is dedicated strictly to compliant programs provided by UNHCR. You're welcome to learn more about the Refugee Zakat Fund by visiting zakat.unhcr.org/Africa. And ultimately, in general, we believe that Islamic philanthropy is one of the most active and strongest means of charity for people in need. We believe that Zakat contributions can make a significant and tangible difference in the lives of people forced to flee in Nigeria. The needs are immense, and we believe that there's a strong desire for Nigerians to support both refugees, but also Nigerians who've been internally displaced due to conflict. And we really actively wish to engage with the private sector in Nigeria, including foundations, businesses, philanthropists, to explore opportunities of harnessing the power of Zakat to support families forced to flee their homes. We really greatly value our partnerships with private sector, and throughout that partnership journey, we ensure accountability and transparency, as well as bespoke reporting to ensure that the money donated, the funds that have been contributed to support these very vulnerable families in need, go towards really providing significant assistance to them. So should there be any opportunity of desire, interest of any Islamic businesses, philanthropists, foundations to want to partner with UNHCR, definitely welcome you to get in touch. My email is raia@unhcr.org. Would love to be able to speak to any members of the community that are interested in moving this forward, definitely.
Considering the challenges of vulnerable people, the UNHCR spokesperson shared a perspective on the outlook for increased support from the Zakat contributions. Speaking further, she assessed how the Zakat Fund has been utilized for IDPs in Nigeria.
You know, as we discussed earlier, in Africa alone, we have 26.4 million people of concern, people who have fled violence, conflict, persecution, natural disasters in their own country. In Nigeria specifically, we have 60,239 refugees from Cameroon due to the ongoing insecurities in that country, and a little over 2,624,000 internally displaced persons in the northeast area. We're also aware of internal displacement taking place in northwest and the middle belts of Nigeria, all individuals who have been forced to flee their homes because of violence, conflict, or persecution. So we really believe that this Refugee Zakat Fund can provide truly tangible support and relief to these persons of concern. The Zakat Fund is active throughout the year, and we invite individuals, companies, and foundations to contribute to it by visiting zakat.unhcr.org/Africa. The Zakat contributions can be made via debit, credit card, as well as via bank transfer to our non-interest-bearing fundraising account. And the details for that bank account can be found on zakat.unhcr.org/Africa. Aside from Zakat, we are also appealing for donations to protect forcibly displaced populations, such as Sadaqah donations that can be made visiting donate.unhcr.org. Really, every little bit counts, and I think that there's an immense desire for Nigerians, particularly to help refugees and other Nigerians who've been internally displaced.
She gave a snapshot of the 2019 Islamic Philanthropy report and some of the countries that have benefited from the Zakat.
As mentioned, our plan is to expand the Refugee Zakat Fund in Nigeria to support the internally displaced in Borno State. Unfortunately, the pandemic has slowed down that rollout, but inshallah we will be able to do that soon. We'd actually hoped this past Ramadan to organize iftars across Nigeria in Abuja, Lagos, and other cities to really reunite the Muslim communities to support the internally displaced families in Borno State. But we had to amend our plans due to the global health pandemic. So instead, we organized a Ramadan virtual event, which was attended by Muslim leaders across the region, including Nigeria. And from that event, we have engaged in fruitful discussion with Nigerian Muslim leaders on rolling out an Islamic philanthropy campaign in Nigeria to disseminate information about the Refugee Zakat Fund and other mechanisms and ways in which the private sector, including philanthropists, foundations, and businesses, can support families forced to flee and partner with UNHCR in doing so. So the campaign will inshallah be rolled out in the coming weeks. In the interim, as mentioned before, would definitely welcome any form of interest in this regard by feeling free to contact me at raia@unhcr.org. But I can share with you a little bit about UNHCR's 2020 Islamic Philanthropy report that was launched before this past Ramadan, which named Nigeria as one of the biggest risers and shed light on faith-based giving behaviors across various faiths. And since faith-based values play an important role in influencing charitable donations, Zakat Refugee Fund really provides the opportunity to harness zakat for real significant assistance and support to people forced to flee. So in that 2019 Islamic Philanthropy report, we highlighted how zakat contributions made last year have supported refugee families. So overall, it supported some 1 million refugees and IDPs in 8 countries. That included Syrian refugees in Jordan, Lebanon, and Egypt, Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh and Malaysia, Malayan refugees in Mauritania, and IDPs, people forced to flee but within their home country, in Yemen and Iraq. So this is an achievement that we're very proud of, and it was really possible thanks to partners and donors around the world. And while UNHCR works in more than 130 countries globally and supports more than 70 million forcibly displaced persons, including many countries in Africa, the Refugee Zakat Fund is gradually expanding its geographical reach of zakat and sadaqah distributions to impact as many beneficiaries as possible. And our main focus right now is to really expand the beneficiaries into Nigeria.
As the UNHCR continues on its mandate of saving the lives and protecting the rights of stateless people and forcibly displaced communities, the need for partnerships with private sector, philanthropies, businesses, individuals, and zakat institutions is critical to achieving scale in the area of transforming the lives of refugees and IDPs in Nigeria. And that will be all for today. For questions and comments, kindly send a message to reporter@proshend.com and news@proshend.com. Also, you can engage us on our social media handles displaying on the screen. Do remember to stay safe and stay healthy. Many thanks for watching, and bye for now.